What up, y'all? It's your man, Abuamerican, here for another episode of the Phillip Show, where you, the viewer, can ask me your situations, and I will situate you in your situation. What's good, people? How y'all doing? What do we got here? How many days now we've been in Ramadan? Like 5 days now? This is day number 5? How's your guys' Ramadan doing? I'm already like on that shrunken stomach. You know how you had like the voodoo shrunken heads? Okay, maybe it's not the same, but I got the shrunken stomach syndrome already. It's like, you eat an apple and you feel like you ate a basket of apples. That's how I feel right now. Yeah. So, until these questions, boy, Kata, you come off right off the rip with some crazy stuff. Does this qualify as a relationship question? Why are Somali girls so aggressive? Or why? Yeah. I have a lot of theories, but I don't want to seem like I'm picking on a particular community of people. You know what, dude? You got to understand, like, basic female. Are they somewhat? Yeah. He always worried about them Somali girls, ain't he? Look, in general, you tend to find that the Somali community has some attractive women in it, and women put up what is in the game world known as a bitch shield, and this is so that the average guy, doesn't come along and just like start. Because what are they going to do if you're an attractive woman and you're just walking around, whatever else? You're going to be approached by every single dude on the block who thinks you're an attractive woman, which is probably like a good 80% of the human population of males. So they got to have like a wall up, to keep dudes at bay. And I don't think it's anything specific to the Somali community. I think it's just women in general. They need this, and that also helps filter out like lames, or sometimes she's just not interested in being talked to. But a lot of times, women put up that shield, in order to filter out lames. You guys are scared, like, she goes, argh, and then they're like, ah, women don't want to deal with those kind of guys. So, a lot of these women put up those shields. And there's a lot of other stuff that I think is at play there also, but I don't want to get into that because then it would seem like I'm picking on a community. And I'm not really picking on them, even if I say it. It's just, we really want to go here, Kata? I don't know if I want to go here. All right, let's just be honest. Let's be straight. We're going to go there. Man, that's what this show's for. You guys can put me on the spot with her. Kata put me on the spot. Kata, this should be a super chat, Kata, because, I'm gonna catch some heat for this one. I'm gonna catch smoke for this one. I think there's a slight like ethnic not inferiority, that's not what I want to say, but like ethnicity comes into play because let's just be real. Even though I'm Muslim, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, we have a lot of racists in amongst the Muslims. And so a lot of people, they approach Somali women like they're lower or lesser than other women, which they obviously aren't. And so, why wouldn't you be aggressive? Everybody treating you like, you're a third class citizen, like you should be cheap and easy. I'd be aggressive too. So I think it makes sense because a lot of times that's how women, and I'm not the social justice warrior type. I'm not into that type of stuff. Everybody knows this, but let's just be real. A lot of times, like women of the darker the color, the woman, they tend to be treated like with less value. We just gonna be real. We're gonna keep it real. As some tough statements. I'm gonna catch smoke for that one, but it's real. And so I think that plays into it also, especially in the Muslim community, because we just got some straight, racist savages in the ranks of the Muslims. So anyway, yeah, I tend to not have a whole lot of problems with Somali women unless it's on Twitter. On Twitter, they are just like bottom barrel, just really, ugh. Who, me? Generalizing Somali women? My niggas, I got a Somali wife. Get out of here, bro. Shush. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Phantom Zone. So anyway, last week I wanted to talk about something, while the questions waiting for the questions roll in, it's like you get what you deserve. But I actually didn't get a chance to answer it because questions started coming in all crazy, like very early on. And it's not only you get what you deserve, a lot of times people get what they deserve, you get as much as you're willing to work for or unwilling to work for. If you work hard or work smart, then you achieve your goals. If you set goals, what do you call it? Goals without deadlines or dreams. And if you work towards that, generally, the average person is going to achieve their goals. And they deserve that because they work for it. Let's see. Sorry, I got some comments. Okay. I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about, bro? I was kind of confused for a second there. Okay, this is what Anonymous Assassin says. Somalis are people of war and conflict. In the West, when there are not strong men to keep Somali women in check, they take up that masculine behavior to fill the void. This is for my Somali homie. Okay. Nah, bro. Icky, I didn't get to check out the How Do We Get Here podcast, bro. I'm so busy. I don't have time I didn't have time. I mean, you just told me about it like, what was it, like 2 days ago or something? I think it was in the chat. Bro, I really didn't have time to take a look at it. I stay mad busy, my good man. I was just talking to a gentleman about HNS. I was talking about HNS. I don't know if anybody here tunes into my Blockchain Bros show. I was talking to a gentleman named Mark. Dude, like, just blew my mind. I thought I knew some stuff, and he just I was like, wow, this dude's he's like some next level, like super geeked out, as a compliment, super geeked out on like some HNS stuff. And I was just like, wow, gonna have him on Blockchain Bros. So I always got something going on, man. I'm never like resting. I'm never chilling. I mean, I did that, and then I like just took a short break, and then I did this show right after I like talked to him. So it's like, yeah, I'll get a chance to I'll take the time to take a look at it, but I'm just crazy busy. What are your thoughts on John Fitch saying your woman or wife shouldn't know your bank balance? I agree with him. She doesn't really need to know how much you make, how much money you have. Here's the thing that I've noticed about women. And I noticed this a long time ago before I actually came into the whole relationship sphere and paying attention to female behavior as like a science in order to, maximize the quality relationship you have with multiple women. I noticed that if you tell your woman, and I noticed with my German ex, I was together with her 26 years. If you tell a woman how much money you have, she'll plan it out to the last dollar. She will plot out every single dollar that you have. Not all women are obviously going to do this. That's generalization, but the vast majority of women that I've met, unfortunately, they're like that. If you tell them I got $100, she's plotted out $100. And it's just like, yeah, well, we need, 45 to fill up the gas tank. You say, oh, so we actually only got 55, and then she'll plot out the 55. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, generally, she doesn't need to know. And there's multiple reasons for this also. If you look at hypergamy in the purest sense, it's also bad, because what if she doesn't think it's enough? You know what I'm saying? What if she thinks you have a whole lot? It's just, I don't see the benefit of it, Now, here's the thing. I don't really talk about money with my women unless we do business together. I do this HNS handshake business together with my wife. But in general, I don't talk about money. I mean, she just knows I have it. She's like, I know he's got money, because when I want something, it's available. I can get it. I can do it. Let's go here. Let's do this. I travel. If you follow my more professional Instagram, not my Abuamerican Instagram, then I get around, I travel a lot, whatever else. I always got money on tap. So she knows I have money, but it's like she doesn't really know how much, and then I'll be random about it too. If she asks for a big ticket buy, sometimes I'll buy it just outright. Other times I'll just be like, she might ask me for something small, I'll just be no, but it's just like sometimes she'll ask for a big ticket item, I'll say no, and she asks for something small, I'll say yes. I just flip it up and switch it around just so she has an idea, so she doesn't really sit there and plot out okay, well, I asked them for this at the early, because women can they're meticulous in their thoughts and their investigative abilities, and so she can calculate out how much you have. She'll figure out the rent, the power, this, that, the other, and she'll start running numbers through her head. Women are smart like that. Yeah, we did discuss this. That's quite old. It might have been prior to Abu Future Trunks actually being here. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother, have you considered doing a collaboration with Elliott Hughes? He recently been on with the Three Muslims, and it was a beneficial session. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I wouldn't mind talking to him. I don't know if he'd come on. The three Muslims have a bigger crowd than I do, so it makes sense for Elliott Hughes to come on there. Me and Elliott Hughes actually share some space in terms of the manosphere, but he's over there with Anthony James Johnson, and Anthony Johnson doesn't like me at all. So I don't know how that would work out, if he's like, beholden to that guy or not. But I'm not opposed to it. I mean, Elliott Hughes is Elliott Hughes, the guy knows his stuff. He did some kind of kooky stuff, that I don't agree with, but yeah, I'd have him on. He seems like a pretty solid dude in general. Yeah, this is my man right here. Alex Lazard is my homie. And he said, he could attest that I'm really busy all the time. I really am, man. I don't catch a break, dude. I think I don't have an off day. I just take time off. I don't have one set off day. Sometimes I'll just take time off and I'll just go do stuff when I'm supposed to be doing something else. Because if I don't, then I'll just work myself to the grave. So what do you think about brothers searching for sisters to marry overseas? Should they bring them over? We've discussed this before, and I'm still kind of mixed about it. We've got a lot of things at play here. All right, first you have the Islamic ruling. In general, people shouldn't be leaving Muslim countries for non-Muslim countries. This is just an Islamic ruling. I mean, this is not something I can change. This is just how it is. So it's really not permissible to come and live, and just stay and chill and hang out, whatever else. We talked about the reasons for a person to actually leave as a resident and a citizen of a Muslim country to leave to a non-Muslim country. There are specific conditions. But let's say marriage is allowed. I don't know. This is something that you'd have to ask a scholar. But let's just go with that idea. Now you got multiple things at play here. Does she have family in these countries? If she has families in these countries, I'd say definitely without question, go for it, because there's going to be like that factor of like Western cultural shock and people like, adjusting to the culture, maybe in a positive way, sometimes in a negative way. You never know. We hear horror stories about some sisters coming over. They get like a taste of freedom. I mean, that sounds terrible. Like, you don't want to keep the sister prisoner or nothing. But at the same time, it's like, cultural boundaries are held in place by the culture and society they live in. And so a lot of times what you find is like sisters, not a lot of times, excuse me, let me not say that, but sometimes you find that sisters and even brothers, they come from these, extremely conservative societies that have like social restrictions and shaming. And then you come out to the West and there's none of that. And then they just completely lose themselves. I mean, I saw some people from a Muslim nation out here, drunk and whatnot. This is something they'd never do in their country, like being out publicly drunk, being drunk at all, probably, because just access to alcohol is impossible to find, if not completely restricted and illegal. They come out here, they don't know how to deal with that type of freedom. They don't know how to deal with it. And then they just, on the street, run around drunken, being drunken and whatnot. So, you find that with men and women, and if you're not that guy, that quote unquote guy, and then you bring her out here, it's not going to go well, so it depends on who you are and what kind of guy you are. It's very subjective on the individual. You'd have to look at the individual and then decide from there. It's like you look at some guys, you're like, yo, you ain't that dude. Don't bring her over here. Keep her over there with her family where, they're going to keep an eye on her. And then other women, you're going to just be like, yeah, or it's also subjective according to the woman also. There's a lot at play here, man. I think that has to be decided individually. I don't think that's something that can just be said as a general statement. You're going to have a combination of guys and girls that, you can bring her over. You're going to have a combination of guys and girls where you can't, where the guy's bad and the girl is good, or the girl is good and the guy's bad, or they're both bad, so it's really hard to look at, man. You got to do it on an individual basis. But in general, just from the Islamic standpoint and the ruling, it's best to avoid when possible. I don't know if that really helped and answered your question. Yeah, that's the thing with Elliott Hughes that I didn't really get down with. I was just like, what the heck? He talked about it. I mean, I don't know, man. That's not really my cup of tea type thing, guys, doing that type of stuff, especially a guy like him, very, 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 quote unquote masculine guy, heavy weightlifting, strong dude and all this, and then he's just doing what we consider to be Islamically very strange things and behaviors. Because we know Islamically, a man dressing up like a woman and a woman dressing up like a man is not something that's permissible. It's actually cursed. Out here in the West, of course, it's obviously seen far less severe, but then we have we have religious restrictions on certain behaviors. And so it's just kind of like, dude, what? But even before I became Muslim, that's just like, it's like, I never, not even high school, did I ever dress up like a woman for, like for plays or whatever else. It's just something, growing up in a military background and family, it's not something we'd ever considered in my family, or as a behavior. Phantom Zone. I have a friend who has severe social anxiety and plays video games all day. It's probably why he has severe social anxiety. He doesn't get out much. His parents want him to marry, but he doesn't because he is afraid. Yeah. What should get out in the world? What advice should you give him? Get out in the world, man. Stop playing video games. All that social anxiety. What is that? It's an illness of our time because we are so socially connected on phones. And so what happens is we behave in general in a way on our social media and our phones that we wouldn't behave in person. But we know intrinsically you can't behave like that in person. And so it causes social anxiety because people don't know how to behave. It's like, okay, they act all brave and bold. It's like the trolls that come to my channel. They'd never act like that in my face. They never talk the stuff they talk in my face. We know this. We all know this. And it's the same thing. But they get social anxiety, these people, because they spend so much time in the online world that they don't spend time in the real world, real people. And so they don't know how to interact with people properly, And this is one of the advices I gave a guy, I can't remember where it was, maybe on Instagram. He asked me, like, what should I, I need to, like, overcome my social anxiety. I said, go out and talk to people. Go out and talk to random strangers. And I said, and do it until you can be so good at it that it doesn't become awkward. I can go up and start a conversation with a stranger and make it so it's not awkward. But that's it's a special skill, and it takes practice. Like anything else, if you spend all your time doing something over and over and over and over and over multiple times, you're literally doing repetitions. You become good at something. This is why people who are good at video games, they got muscle memory on their video games. But then possibly because he's spending so much time, getting his muscle memory and his hand-eye coordination with the screen so well, he's lacking somewhere else. Social skills are the same way. Everything has to be practiced. Everything needs repetition. I wasn't always like up on the screen like this on, YouTube talking and chilling and whatever else and ready to freestyle combat people out. It wasn't always like that. This is a trained skill. Just like the trolls are really good at trolling, generally they tend to be lopsided people that are not good at much else. So it's the same thing. You get good at what you practice. Well, he's good at video games. Obviously, he's socially awkward because he's not spending any time socially with people. Because he's just spending time on video games. Tell him your advice to him. Tell him get out. Take him out. Go and grab him. Turn off video games. I don't know if you can do that. You end up with a fight with him or whatever else. But he probably got scrawny, weak arms because he's only on video games. So you can probably just wrestle him and tire him out a little bit, drag him out the house and be like, let him get some sunlight. Like, take him out, man. Show him around. Because he's not going to gain social skills online. You're not going to gain it because there's that level of anonymity or untouchableness. I think I just made that up. That causes you not to develop social skills. Because let's be real. Also, like you said, he's afraid to get married. Fear is part of like social skills. Also, is the understanding that you might say something wrong or something awkward or whatever else, and it might go bad. You need to learn how to deal with that.
Would do, because I got my cousins like that. His own front of computer.
Well, that's why I said take him. I said,
him,
yeah, you got to take him out. You can't just advise it. Yeah, there is no advice. You got to take him out. And being afraid to get married, man. I mean, I'd like to think everybody likes women in general. I mean, how you gonna meet one if you just playing video games? You think you're gonna meet a gamer girl on there? I met your mother on Call of Duty. And, she was playing the only female character on the field and she ran past me while shooting at, yeah. Yeah, he's afraid of women and he's afraid to meet women and he's afraid of marriage because he lacks social skills and he knows it. There's that intrinsic understanding that you are not developing properly. Everybody has this. It's sort of like your fitra. So take him out. You can't advise him. You got to take him out. How does a guy set the frame, especially when talking to a new sister? Does it come into effect naturally and quickly? I mean, again, this comes back down to what we were talking about with trained skills. setting the frame is you have to understand her behavior and how you react or how you respond to it. The first thing with setting frame is who's reacting to who. Are you making her react to you, or are you reacting to her? This is why, like right off the rip, when you start dealing with sisters, they come with like those machine gun rapid fire questions. What's your name? Where do you work? Do you this? Would you this? How do you this? How do this? And then, you know, you're not getting questions in edgewise. You answer a question and she answers, you ask another question. She's setting the frame that I'm running and I'm in control of this situation and I'm in control of this conversation. And so early on, you have to just recognize her behaviors. Is she waiting for you to lead, or is she trying to lead? When she's trying to lead, she's going to come with a lot of questions. And what these questions are is the disqualifier questions. And a lot of sisters don't even realize they're doing it, that they're just automatically firing off questions that are, you know, that are used to disqualify men. And if you've read my vetting guide, then you know that the position that women come from is a position of disqualification and men come from a position of qualification. And so a lot of men misunderstand this behavior. Oh, she's interested in me. No, she's just controlling the frame and she's checking to see if you are going to take control of the frame, you know. And these are women actually that have a lot of contact and a lot of communication with men in general. It's automatically, for me as an Abuamerican, it's a red flag, because this means that she spent a lot of time in the zone with like men and communicating with men and controlling the frame with men. So it means like she's chatting with dudes too much, you know. And I mean, I don't want my wife, you know, chatting with a bunch of dudes, you know. And if you marry a girl like that, she's going to be chatting with a bunch of dudes because that's just her status quo. Is this an absolute? No, obviously. But it's a pretty solid sign that I've found to be consistent behaviors. So setting the frame is a matter of, first off, shooting to control the frame, leading the conversation, and then checking to see if she's leading the conversation or if she's going to combat you for leadership in the conversation. Because if she starts combating you and you guys going back and forth with questions, who's trying to, you know, run the direction of the conversation, you're going to end up in a conflict with her. Then you're going to end up in what I call frame battles. And I talk about frame battles a lot. No, not a lot, but frame battles, basically, it's fun for a guy, but it's a surefire sign that it's not going to work out between you two. So just pay attention to that type of stuff. I hope that answered your question. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, it shall be out soon. You're excited. That's nice. yeah, inshallah. I got some other stuff I need to do in terms of research. I've been doing some research because, like I said, I don't just put out trash. So I need
research. It's like right.
Exactly. I got a lot of stuff I'm trying to put back together. I have a spreadsheet that I actually use for the applications and whatnot. I need to dig that up and dust it off because I stopped using it recently. I want to have that available for the course also. So there's a lot of research I still got to do, you know, to make sure my stuff is on point. But yeah, it's in the works. Dude, you and these questions. Kata. All right, look, this question right here, you're gonna have to drop like at least a $5 super chat before I take your next question, man. What does it mean when a girl calls you gay? What kind of question is that? See, that's why, Kata, $5 super chat for your next question. Sorry, rejected. Oh man, what is this guy on? Oh my. Okay, Mr. M with a good question here. Thoughts on marrying outside your race and language and culture and religious barriers? Religion is a little bit more complicated. I'll start that one because it's easier. Religion is a little bit more complicated because we have quite a restrictive religion. Obviously, you know, we have a lot of rules. And a lot of people have religions that don't have a lot of rules, or rules that they're really lax about. So when it comes down to alcohol, pork, certain behaviors in terms of dressing, you know, communication with the opposite sex and opposite gender and whatnot, you know, these are expectations that we as Muslims have, you know, and it's going to be kind of hard to place those expectations on someone who isn't Muslim. Obviously, as a Muslim, you can only marry Christians and Jews. You can't marry, you know, Sikhs and Hindus and whatever else, you know, because it's just religiously not permissible. So in that context of religion, it's going to be quite difficult. But if you can come to an understanding with a woman, then fine, you know, then you go to the next step. You know, if she meets the religious qualifications in terms of Islam and, you know, what's required of her, and then you get past the religious barriers. In terms of like race and language and culture, I've found no problems. I mean, all my wives are from different cultures and races, you know, and even have like, okay, you know, Francolingua between us is English, but they all have like their own mother tongue, you know. And it's no problem. there's no problem. They have like different dietary stuff. Some of the food you're gonna eat, some of the food you're not. But in general, if you're leading the relationship in general, there's no problem. As a man, if you're a leader, you're not going to find the culture is going to be the family culture that you set in the household. That's going to be your family culture. And then basically the ethnic culture is going to be subservient to the family culture. So it's like, let me give an example of what I'm talking about. Yeah, she'll adopt his culture. Like my wife is Asian. I don't really eat rice. She eats rice. Family culture is a lot of meat, a lot of protein. So what do we have? I have steak every day. I have steak every single day. And so, but they still eat rice. That's probably a bad example, but you get the idea. I'm oversimplifying it, but you get the idea. In terms of family culture, the family culture is going to take, superiority over the cultural culture. You know what I mean? And so, yeah. Yeah, so she still does her Indonesian stuff, but the family culture takes priority here. Yeah, so I don't see it as a problem or issue, and I find out with any woman I deal with, it's always like that. Yeah. Phantom Zone with some more details. His parents. Yeah, right. Nice. That's why I don't know what his parents are. His parents are pheasants. They're parents. His parents can easily fix an arranged marriage, but he doesn't want to. I'm gonna push him to start working out and go outside. Maybe some voluntary work will help him. Yeah, thanks for the advice. Yeah, do that, man. Push him. Definitely working out. You skinny arm playing them video games, man. I know. I seen skinny arm video game players. Arranged marriages tend to last longer than love marriages, so he should accept it. It's just a reality. The science behind it, the social science behind it, I don't understand. But statistically speaking, from statistics, arranged marriages last longer than love marriages. So he shouldn't really be against it. Yeah. It's very important when what Alex is talking about here is I use a spreadsheet generally with matrimonial apps. And so what it does is it helps you identify what group you most likely attract. Like I understand that in Germany, the number one demographic that I'm going to attract are Moroccan females that are between the age of 28 and 32. So I have a very solid idea that if I come across a Moroccan sister that's, roughly 28 to like 33, there's a high percentage chance she's going to swipe right on me. And it's really accurate. There's a lot of different demographics here in Germany. After that is going to be the Somali demographic. And yes, Somalis like swipe right on me. Yeah. I don't know why. It seems like they hate me. Then I understand also that, the Somali demographic is going to swipe right on me, but they're going to be less serious than the Moroccan demographic. So I'll have a wider spread in the Somali demographic, actually from like about like 18 to up to like, 28. So like a 10-year grouping, but they tend to be less serious, than the Moroccans. So yeah, spreadsheets are very important because then it helps you identify like, your target demographic. So, a guy might say, well, I'm not really interested in Moroccans. Like I know Moroccans are really interested in me. But then with that, you understand that like, okay, this is a very attractive Moroccans because Moroccans are known for being attractive, but you can like actually help yourself now pick out the most attractive with the most attractive attributes in terms of like, religion and beauty and whatever else you're looking for. And then like, do your swiping accordingly. So like if let's say you don't like Moroccans, but then you also know that they swipe the right on you the most. When you come across one that you actually like, wow, I can actually like mess with this, then you can swipe right on that one and you understand that you have a higher chance with that one in specific than you do with other ones. This is why it's important to like track your swiping with a spreadsheet. And I know some of you guys out there, you just animals. You sing. You just swiping. You ain't paying attention to nothing. Just right. I do that on one app. Just one app. I'm just like, yeah, I just don't even care. But in general, yeah, you should track that information. Walaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya akhi kareem. And it'll cost you $5, Kata. What's up, Red Sings Blue? What's good, man? How do you get the money for steak every day? Alhamdulillah, I do well for myself. Alhamdulillah. I do okay for myself. Allahumma barak fik.
I think probably his country is having expensive.
Maybe you guys, I mean, steaks, are they expensive here?
Put it Adnan somewhere. It's not in
I
Germany.
mean, our steak bill is pretty hefty. It's quite expensive, actually. When you do the math. I mean, I eat steak every day, right?
Yeah.
And average steak is running about like €7 a steak. So almost €10 a steak. So I'm eating like almost what, €70 a week in steak. That's not so bad. That's not much. Yes, that's pretty cheap actually. Yeah, maybe steak's more expensive. I wrote it's about €7, $7.50 per steak where I'm at. It's a pretty big steak too, So if we want to round up to 10, we'll say it's like €70.
300 grams.
Yeah, it's about about €70 a week. It's not bad, man. I mean, and usually it's Ramadan. Usually I eat that twice a day. I'll have it like at lunch and I'll have it at dinner. So but right now because it's Ramadan, I only eat that once a day. In your experience, will high value men have to compromise on the looks of a woman to avoid egotistic women and get submissive ones, or can they demand both today? Most good looking women seem spoiled. There's a big debate in the red pill world in general. Settling for like a woman that's a little bit lower tier on looks for for what's the word, pleasant personality. But I think if you're that guy, all women are going to have a pleasant personality for you. If you're that guy. I think you identified it right. The greater the beauty, then obviously the less she has to tolerate. Just like you as a man, the more success you have, the less you have to tolerate from a woman. So at the same sense, the more beautiful you see, this is why you guys got to read Rollo's book on the sexual market value scale. So at an early age, we'll go with Western marriage age as opposed to age of consent, but Western marriage age is like 18, and 18-year-old women have like sexual market value through the roof, breaks the charts. 18-year-old men are way down here, but as age increases, it switches, and the older a man gets, the more success he sees, and his sexual market value increases, and the older woman gets, whether they like to hear it or not, the less her sexual market value is worth. And so she at an early age doesn't have to tolerate a lot from a man. She can dictate the rules because she has a high sexual market value. If you don't want to cooperate, she can like snap her fingers and there's 100 dudes around. When it switches, it's the same for men. He doesn't have to tolerate crabbiness and bad attitudes from women, and he can snap his finger and there's a bunch of women around the corner. So you have to look at it like that. Yes.
What?
Well, I thought you were gonna say something. It's true. He says you can't not like Moroccans. They're generally pretty. It's true. But you got some people who actually, I've heard some people like they don't really like Moroccans. I was like, okay, well, you don't like pretty then. They generally don't have like a bunch of like ugly women. They really don't. Man, I can't answer that one. Why, can I ask why so many Iranians are so irreligious? I don't know. Might have to do with the fact that they're all Shia. I don't know. Not all of them, but I don't know. Maybe it's some sort of Shiism thing that causes it. I don't know, bro. I've met a lot of Iranians, and yeah, they tend to be kind of irreligious. I actually haven't met a single religious, like practicing Iranian. That's interesting.
I think they have lots of lesbians. Yeah, I saw in my Twitter.
Really? Mm-hmm. The women? Mm-hmm. Okay. So is there videos? No, I'm just joking. Blockchain Bros is on Sundays. I can't wait to have this guy Mark on. He really blew my mind. But this Sunday he's not going to be available. I don't think so. I think it's too short notice. But he's going to get back to me, and that show is going to be deep. Alex is actually going to like this one because he's going to start talking a lot about like domains and whatnot, and really like do a deep dive, hopefully on Handshake, get you guys up to speed on that stuff. It's really, really, I'm deep in the Handshake stuff, but not as deep as I thought I was. When I talked to him, I was just like, what? Just stuff like what? You can do that? So there's a lot going on in that space that is just absolutely amazing. Can't wait to have him on. It's just eating protein, bro. I mean, right now I don't really do a lot. I'm at like, we started. Yeah, it's genetics. It's true. It's genetics and just eating good. I eat a lot of protein. I don't eat a lot of trash. I mean, I picked up some sugar in terms of like this thing right here, but it's low sugar. Like this drink right here, I drink. This is like a soda thing, and it's like fruit, and it's got sugar in it. But I think the average person who drinks Coca-Cola like regularly, they'll drink this and think it's disgusting because it's like it doesn't have a lot of sugar on it. But because I don't really consume a whole lot of sugar, to me it's quite sweet.
I didn't drink all that, but that's nasty.
It's nice.
Nasty.
Yeah, she thinks it's nasty. It's like it's not really sweet, but to me it's like very sweet. It's like, but it doesn't really have high sugar in it. So, I mean, but otherwise I don't eat like a lot of trash food, man. And I take care of myself. We started a program with my men's community where we're doing like 50 a day. 50 push-ups, 50 pull-ups, 50 sit-ups, 50 squats. Throughout Ramadan, and so stuff like this, man. Eating what is that? Eating well. Get what is that? What is that?
Steak.
Is that steak?
Oh.
Yeah. Just eating well and exercise.
That's a lot. It's from your drink, no?
Maybe. That's gone. It's gone. Yeah. I guess it was from the bottle. I had steak fingers. Anyway, yeah. Too much red meat isn't good. Really, homie. Really.
You got bullet probably.
That's my biceps don't agree with you. Let's go on down here. See, we got a bunch of Iranian bashing. I agree. Sugar is generally like very, very toxic to the body in general. It causes your insulin levels to spike and give you diabetes or whatever else. Why do I call this the Even Phillip Show? Patrice O'Neal, he had the Black Phillip Show. And it's just a play off of that, the Black Phillip Show. It's just a joke off of that. The Black Phillip Show was a relationship show. And Even Phillip just is a play off of the Black Phillip Show. But Philip is actually my dad's name also. So I just happen to, I actually am Eben Phillip. I am the son of Philip. So it just worked out really well. What are your thoughts on Rich Cooper? Would you recommend a Muslim to watch his content? Have you done a show with him before? Yes, I've done a show with Philip, with Rich. I've done a show with Rich. I think he's an all right guy. He's really like no nonsense type of guy. I like that. I mean, that's kind of cool. I don't know what his stances are on religion and whatnot. I mean, if he's bashing Islam or whatever else, then I obviously say don't watch his stuff. But I've never seen him do it. But I don't watch his content regularly. Sometimes I see it. I follow him on YouTube, and so he's on my pop-up and list of like content creators when their material comes out. And sometimes I'll see a title that catches my eye and I'll listen to it. And I mean, he's got good stuff. I mean, I think his material is quite good, that he constantly, produces so much, quality content. I think it's like pretty impressive. Yeah, I'd say watch it, I mean, and if you see anything in there that's like questionable or doubtful, let me know. I mean, in terms of like, bashing Islam or something like that, that's really like one of the criteria that I take in terms of following some guys. Some guys, they just go all in on Islam, whatever. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. It's like there ain't enough to talk about where it's like, you guys start attacking people's religions and beliefs, so. Yeah, but in general, yeah, I have a decent relationship with Rich, in terms I talk to him here and there, on the private chat side of the game. I've been on his show and, I'd like to have him on the show here, but I haven't really talked to him about it because I've just been focusing on a whole bunch of other stuff. I think Rich is an all right guy in general. I'd say watch his stuff. It's not bad. I find this stuff pretty quality in terms of like his content and what he's telling people, telling men in specific. This is something I'm confused about. If I buy a Lamborghini, for example, will I be setting a bad example for my wives and kids by being spendthrift? That's actually the opposite. Will that deteriorate their view on money? Well, you're not being a spendthrift if you buy a Lamborghini. That's actually the opposite. A spendthrift would be like buying a Trabant or something, you know, or a Lada. I mean, it's definitely not practical if you have kids to buy a Lamborghini. But I understand the question. I'm just joking. What you don't want to do, in my humble estimation, I'm not a rich guy. You know, I do well for myself, but I'm not a rich guy. You don't want to spoil your kids, you know, to the idea that everything is on tap. You know, it's just like, you know, I want something and it's just there. It sets a false expectation for their life to come if you're not going to, you know, be their constant ATM machine in terms of like, you know, just always getting what they want. They want a new apartment, they want a car, they want to travel here, they want to do this. And I just know dad's got it. You know, the one who receives everything appreciates nothing is the saying. And you don't want to raise your kids in that particular environment. Do you want to buy a Lamborghini? Absolutely. Because then your kids can also see that it takes work to achieve something, and that, you know, you could like actually say, yeah, I didn't always drive a Lamborghini. You know, I used to drive like a regular car, or I rode the bike to work, or I rode the bus or something like this, you know? And so they have an idea and a concept that it takes work, you know, in order to achieve something. So they should see the fruits of success of hard work and smart work, you know, preferably smart work, you know? So absolutely raise your kids to actually see, you know, the results of that. Like, oh, dad gets all this stuff. You know, what does dad do that he gets all this stuff? You know, what do I have to do to get it? Not just, oh, dad's got it, so it's automatically I get it too. Because this is what a lot of brothers complain about when it comes down to sisters in marriage. You know, sisters, they don't look at the fact that their dad's like, you know, in his late 40s, you know, mid 50s, and he's built up this amazing life for them to where it's like they can get up and like everything they want is the way they want it in the house. And then they expect a man that's in his early 20s to have the same thing that it took their dad, you know, 30 plus years to build up. That's unrealistic expectations. This is why we have this problem in Islam with sisters asking for crazy mahars. It's like, oh, dad's got $1 million. Yeah, your dad's been working for like 40 freaking years. You know what I mean? Well, why don't you have it, Abdullah, Mr. 23-year-old? It's not, she doesn't have a real expectation of the world and understanding of what it takes to achieve that. And so, and that's her father's fault, you know, whether we want to hear that or not, whether we want to accept it or not, that's his fault because he didn't, you know, raise her properly in terms of like understanding that that's not just something that, you know, you go to work, you know, part-time while studying at university or like learning a trade, you know, and then it's just there on tap one day. And then you're just gonna come along and like the madness of this guy, you know. These pages like it always conks out on me.
Why is that?
Yeah, it's plugged in. Anyway, sorry, I always crop out. I always like crap out every show, one time a show. And that, you know, he's gonna have like the spacious apartment, like fat car and all this stuff at an early age. It's just unrealistic. So no, you know, don't spoil your kids, you know, because they're gonna have an unrealistic expectation of how money is earned and how easy or hard it is to earn it. It's sometimes easy, sometimes hard, but it's not something that's just like, you know, you snap your fingers and it comes out of the, you know, falls out of the sky or out of a tree or something. You know, because we're seeing that now in terms of brothers trying to get married. Oh, so how's my iftar? Was good, bro. MashaAllah. Barakallah feek. Hopefully yours was too. Mine was very tasty. Alhamdulillah. The steak was perfect. I don't know what they did to that steak in specific. Maybe like they put that cow in a street fight before it got slaughtered because it was super tender. I'll tell you, that cow got the crap beat out of him.
This is how you cook it.
Okay, it's housekeeping. She want to go over here and take her credit. Yes, you do cook steak very well. Excuse me. Say it loud enough for the microphone. Who taught you how to cook steak? Wait. Say it louder, please.
You.
Thank you. Okay. All the great chefs, man. I hear that opposites attract. Do you agree? I'm afraid of attracting an emotional man, to be honest. My two previous potentials were more emotional than me, and I didn't like it. There's a lot of play here. I mean, we have, okay. No, I don't think opposites attract. Sometimes it does, but I don't think this is like a what do you call it? Like yes and no. we're talking about human behavior here, though. Here, it's not like a static or set thing. Look, I talked about this a few shows ago, where opposites attract. In terms of like, if you have a masculine woman, she's going to generally attract feminine or like effeminate type of men. And if you have a masculine man, he's generally going to attract feminine / effeminate women. Now, if you're a woman with masculine attributes, understand how your personality is attracting soft men. Because men who are masculine, they are not looking for another guy with like a nice body and boobs in a VJJ. Guys, masculine men aren't looking for that. He does not want to. I made a video called Fight or Flight, and I was talking to Becky and Ling Ling in that video, and was talking about arguing and whatnot, and how men have a fight. All humans actually do, but men have like an extreme fight or flight reaction in terms of the women. And a guy doesn't want to fight his woman, and he doesn't want to run from her. And so it puts him in a bad situation when his woman like starts arguing and stuff like this. And then generally a masculine man who's in a relationship with a masculine woman, he's eventually just going to throw in the towel. No guy really wants to deal with that. At some point, someone's going to have to buckle. And a guy who's in touch and in tune with his masculine frame is not going to back off of it. It's just part of who he is. It's not a show, and it's not a storefront that you just close up and reopen with like different, stock on shelf, as a display. It's not a display. And so eventually a woman who is in a masculine frame is going to make him have to choose between his masculinity or a relationship with her. And a guy who's masculine is going to choose his masculinity. He's going to walk away. He's going to go and try and find another woman. So you have to look at yourself because, and this is not an attack, sister, but I'm just saying, it's like, I've had like 12 divorces Islamically. I had to look at myself and say, okay, that's a lot of women. And the one common factor is me. So I had to look at myself and say, okay, what mistakes am I making, in order for this to like, be happening like this? And it turns out I was doing a lot right. There's some mistakings and I made mistakings. I'm talking about steak again. Some mistakes and I made some adjustments and whatnot. Alhamdulillah, I'm in a very happy, stable relationship. Inshallah, it's gonna work out.
Why your face is like that?
Now it's your turn, buddy. You gotta do your job. Now she does her job. I'm just playing with you. But so you have to look. If you keep on attracting emotional men, are you coming across with a very hard and masculine type of behavior towards like those are the type of guys you're getting, and if that's not the case, then you need to look at your environment. Then does your environment produce soft men?
I think it's her vulnerability that attracts men who want to take advantages of her. You know what I mean? She's probably too vulnerable for those people.
I disagree. I understand what you're saying. So she's saying basically a vulnerable woman's going to attract guys that want to take advantage of that vulnerable. Why is that such a tongue twister? Vulnerable.
I spelled better. Vulnerability.
Yeah, her vulnerability. Yeah, I'm struggling here with that word. I don't know why. But anyway, and she's saying that, and that's partially true. But in general, female female vulnerability generally attracts the masculine desire to provide deference and protection.
But it doesn't mean the guy who wants to take advantage just move away. No.
Yeah.
She needs to filter that out.
Well, obviously, that's what the Wali's for, to filter out like the snakes and the players and whatnot. But yeah, she's kind of on a different topic, but I know what she's saying. I hope that helped you with the answer. You have to look at your character in general and see if you're like giving a masculine frame, which is causing you to get emotional men. And if that's the case, then look at softening up a little bit, sister. Or if your environment is bad and it's just creating soft men, then you need to go to an environment where there's actually harder men, and they're in an environment that produces, more masculine men. Because obviously, and I say this all the time, and this is an important point right here, guys. This is a woman. And look at this right here. My two previous potentials were more emotional than me, and I didn't like it. In general, and Barakallahu Feek, sister, I'm glad that you posted this question. I say it all the time, and sometimes I end up arguing, especially with women. women in general don't like these soft, touchy-feely type of guys. Women like masculine men in the same way that men like feminine women. Guys talk about, I like Little Miss Independent, and that's amazing, whatever else. But you never find these guys together in relationships with Little Miss Independence. In the same way that you find that women who say they like soft, touchy-feely guys, they're never in a relationship with them soft, touchy-feely guys. They always got some big muscle guy who's like, ultra Chad, and that's the guy they're in a relationship with. So it's it's a very good point that that the sister brought up passively that you guys should pay attention to. In general, this is a universal that women don't like emotional guys. That's her condition and that's her state. Don't go into it. Um 25th. Oh, that's a good point. Let me see this one.
You skip my question.
Even Phillip, do you love me? Do you love me?
I do.
Well, it's mutual. Give me 1 second. Let me check my calendar. Actually, here. Actually, I need to check my scheduling. Sorry. Lives. Oh, I need to refresh the page. Sorry, I do need to check this out because I need to know this from Mark. Actually, even Phillip Show. Giselle is on the 25th of April, and that's a Sunday. Oh yeah, that's in next week. So yeah, I gotta tell Mark I've got that slot filled actually, unless I do 2 live shows back to back. Thanks for that, Raheem. That's very good, man. Thank you. Can I do a show with Coach Greg Adams? If he'll come on the show, yeah, absolutely. I'll reach out to him. I don't know anything about him though, but I mean, I'm down to have anybody on, man. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hanad. Fasting is going good, man. I'm enjoying it, man. I feel actually, I think I made a video about this. Did I make a video about that? How I feel good? Or was I talking to someone about that? I feel great, man. I don't know what it is. I think I might have to fast more often throughout the year.
Your post.
Yeah, I mean, I feel amazing. I don't know why. Yeah, I think I posted it to channel members. I mean, wow, I feel good, dude. I don't know why my body feels so great. I mean, Ramadan started. I didn't have my beginning of the year headaches because I had already quit caffeine, and I always have beginning of Ramadan caffeine withdrawals. I mean, I didn't have them this year, and I feel amazing, dude. I feel lighter. I feel stronger. I feel good. Oh, it's a scheduled video. So yeah. So it'll probably come out like towards the middle or end of Ramadan because I've got like videos scheduled to come out every day. If you guys haven't noticed, my videos come out every day at 10 a.m. And those are scheduled videos. So I got videos scheduled up until like the 9th of next month.
May.
Yeah, the 9th of May. So it's like every video I make. So I made videos in Ramadan talking about Ramadan that won't come out until next month. So when you're like, what's he talking about Ramadan for? If it's over, then you know what happened. I just talked about this, like the 50s, the 5 50s, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, squats. Is that the 450s? Yeah, the 450s. Yeah, it's not a lot, but it helps keep you toned and whatnot. Barakallah Fiq Adnan and you. I mean. One thing is that certain that a feminine man will not prefer a feminine woman over a masculine woman. It's the other way around. Okay. Do you think a man should cry in front of his wife, children, or mother? In my 22 years of living, I've only heard my dad cry once, and that was when his mother died. Women say online that they like a guy who's in touch with his feelings, and he should be able to cry and whatever else. And then when you look at like the responses of women in general, and we've seen this, especially in the circle, in the sphere that I'm on Twitter, where like women talk about like, I saw this guy cry and I just never respected him again, or I mocked him and I laughed inside, but I acted sympathetic. It's probably a bad idea in general, I think you'd have to have a very good and close relationship with the woman. And I mean, like, when I say good and close, I mean like super special to actually pull that off. Remember, and we talk about this all the way, and nobody likes to hear this, but this is just reality. In order to show weakness and vulnerability as a man, you need to do it from a position of strength. And in general, we as men in the West are not in a position of strength to be showing vulnerability. And when I say this, is like Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan could cry in front of anybody you wanted because he's Genghis Khan. And if you were crazy enough to laugh at him or mock him, you'd probably end up like dying a horrible, slow death. You know.
Are you threatening me now?
Me? What? No. What are you talking about?
Sounds like threatening.
So, you know, if Mike Tyson decided to cry, you would be like, ha ha, Mike Tyson's crying. You know, you probably lose half your jawbone. You know, nobody's going to mock a person, you know, who's strong for showing weakness. But if you're just a regular dude, then it's like coming from a position of like standard, you know, like just, well, in their eyes, whether it's true or not, it's a guy displaying weakness from a position of weakness. And generally nobody respects that, you know. And so it's probably best to just, you know, this is part of like social acumen. And unfortunately, yes, and even in relationships, you're going to need to have it, you know. I mean, nobody wants to hear this, like, you know, I can't cry in front of my girl. You probably shouldn't, you know. That's what the bros are for. You go to your bros and you're like, yo, man, yeah. Bros understand better.
I think death is fine. I mean,
see, even she's like putting stipulations on it. Death is fine, but anything else?
Don't.
She said just don't. She said just don't. You know, and there you go. Women in general don't find it.
That bags.
Yeah. Find something else. Yeah. Generally don't. You know, and nobody wants to hear that, but it's true. Don't cry in front of your girl, man. Both of my sisters get a marriage proposal. I'll personally take those suitors and have some sparring sessions with them. Hey, man, I agree. Got to do it. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, let me see. Go down through some of these questions here. Where you guys going off? We're already at an hour, man. It doesn't even feel like an hour shot by. I'm fasting this year too. First time, first day I had dry mouth, but I feel good now. Yeah, sometimes you get those dry mouth days, but generally it's like, man, your body feels different. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Depends on what he eats during the suhoor. That makes dry mouth.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She says, my wife says, depends on what you eat.
Oily during the suhoor.
She said, don't eat oil?
Oily food.
Oh, oily food. Okay. Eroding away, the sister who asked the question earlier said, Jazakallah khair, why yak? I agree, but aren't there masculine traits that can be a positive for women? For example, being level-headed when it comes to arguments, misunderstandings, not assuming. Well, being level-headed in an argument is not really a masculine trait. I mean, that's just an adult trait. That's grown up traits. You know, that's just, you know, that's adulting properly. That's just, you know, understanding that you don't fly off the handle, especially to the people that you care for the most. You know, I mean, and we generally have this backwards. You know, we'll go in public and we'll get into not public, but let's say your work world. Your boss, supervisor, whatever else, I've seen it. They'll treat people with extreme disrespect, and that's a time when you should cuss somebody out. But they won't cuss somebody out because it's their boss or their supervisor. But then they'll come home and they'll cuss out their family. And that's a person you love and you care for and you spend your entire life with. And they'll cuss them out like it's nothing. It's like you got it backwards. You know, so I'm not saying you in specific, sister. I'm just saying in general, this is how people do it. So being level-headed with your partner is something that you should do because that's a person you respect, care, and love for. You know, respect for your boss is not the same because that should be mutual. That should be reciprocal. It should be in a relationship also. But if your boss is like disrespecting you in a particular way or is making you feel kind of way, you know, through their statements or actions, you know, our partners do this to us also, then that person should probably get cussed out because they have no right for that. You know, you're at a fair trade. It's like you do a job and you get paid money for that. You don't get paid to deal with their disrespect. But in a relationship, you're also, you know, you're dealing on a more personal level with a person that you care for and you love. And so they should get more deference and more care in terms of like the relationship than anybody else in your entire life. And we find this, you know, to be the opposite in general. People will go outside and they'll show their best manners and their best face and then come home and really show their rear to their partner. So being level-headed is not really a masculine attribute. This is an adult attribute that we all have, obviously, because women can go out in public in a bad mood, on PMS, on this, whatever else, and they can show their best manners, but then they can't do it for the partner. I wouldn't consider that to be a masculine attribute. I'd consider that an absolute necessity of a relationship. Obviously, we're all human. We're faulted. I blow up on my girl sometimes, right? You know, I do it. I'm a human being. You know, it doesn't. I try not to make it like, you know, a regular habit, but you know, it happens every once in a while. You know, you be all goofy and stuff. She over there laughing because she know, right? Look at her. I know what you look like trying to hide your face over there. So, but it happens. Is it ideal? No, obviously not. But we're humans, and we have human faults and human shortcomings, and you got to deal with it. But in general, she knows that I'll blow up at people at work. I blow up at people at work like regularly. This dude came at me at the job. He's like a site supervisor, and I literally told him in alhamdulillah, I was before Ramadan. I told him to F off, and I was like this. I like put my fingers in his face like this, and I was like, dude, get out of my face. And he went and reported me to everybody, and nobody would come speak to me because they know Abuamerican don't give a damn. They know you come over here, you can catch some smoke too. I try to treat my wife better than that. Why am I going to treat her the same way? So that type of behavior isn't masculine. That's just showing love and care for your partner. Bro, let's make it that'll have to be a whole show, man. I mean, I can go on for another hour about that, but primarily to boil it down to the brass tacks, red pill ideology is a type of, it's basically a social science that breaks down human behavior into its biological imperatives and then the social expression of those biological imperatives. Biological imperative, I want to reproduce. Social expression, PUA, pickup artistry, and game. How do you now achieve sleeping with women? So you have the biological imperative, reproduce, social expression of that, game theory. Because they so brass tacks boil it down to like black and white like that, they take out the morality of human behavior, or that humans should have in their behavior. So now it's just a matter of imperative, social expression in terms of reaching my goal, and the morality of all that disappears. And this is why I go in on cookolds, whatnot in general in my, on my Twitter, because it's just like there's no morality. Why are you sleeping with somebody's wife? What are you doing? It's just oh, I just want to screw. I want sex. It's just, what are you, just freaking animal? What's wrong with you? And it's just really, it's like when you look at a lot of these dudes in red pill world and just talking about how they talk about that. And I'm just bringing up the one of sleeping with another man's wife just because I hate that the most. It's just like, we kind of. Yeah, the cable's plugged. It craps out like this. So, anyways, back to my rant. It shows a lack of moral compass whatsoever. It's just like there's nothing beyond what separates a man from an animal if he takes morality out of the picture. Really nothing. If you remove morality out of our behavior, we are literally just high functioning animals and savages. And I think we're better than that. And red pill world, they obviously, many of them don't. Just going down to questions here, guys. In Kevin Samuel's video called Better Mel Wrecked Her Home, the woman admits that she would let her husband cheat if he made a certain amount. No, she'd let her husband cheat if he was that guy. And that guy, in her mind, that guy makes a certain amount of money. It's not just the money. She's understand that when women speak, this is woman talk. That guy in her mind makes that much money. It takes a particular personality type in her mind to make that type of money. Even if the guy didn't make that much money, but he was that personality type that she's talking about, she let him have multiple partners. Obviously in Islam we don't cheat, but she let him have multiple partners if he was that guy in terms of personality. Yes and no. I agree and disagree. I talked about this about like 3 episodes ago. There's always that baseline personality that's in there, that baseline just angry feminist that's in there. And it's like they always revert back to that. So yes, it's like behaviors are hard to break. A person who wants to be fit, but they're unfit. They're used to bad behaviors, being lazy, eating bad, whatever else. They pick up the habit of like exercising, sports, whatever else. But when things get difficult, what do they revert back to? They revert back to what's easiest and what they know most, which is eating bad and, being lazy. It's the same thing with personality types in terms of like, and ideologies. The feminist, she wants this particular type of guy in her life. And so she starts taking on those attributes of what she thinks it takes to keep that guy. And usually she's right, because this is the natural state. But then when things don't go the way she wants it to with the behaviors that she's getting, and because, there is no guarantee in terms of social contract that just because you act a particular way means you're going to get what you want or you even deserve it. And so what does she do? She reverts back to her natural state, which is feminist. So if she's already feminine, all of that's not going to be a problem because she's not going to automatically attach a particular, reward behind being in a feminine state. So what does she revert back to her feminine state? It's always going to be there because that's her baseline, so I tend to avoid those types because, and just go for the feminine type woman because her baseline is femininity. So if she reverts back to anything, it's just going to be more of herself, yeah. Yes, you can get them to change, but that carrot has to be, really tasty looking to get her, to keep going, carrot on a stick, as they say. Women break rules for alpha, but does that include feministic, egotistical women as well? Generally, you know what you want to watch? Unplugged Fit. Unplugged Fit covers this a lot. Now, it's run by Myron, the Unplugged Fit podcast show. There's a lot of raw stuff on there. A lot of Muslims are going to take exception to, obviously. So, take that with a grain of salt. You're going to look at it and you'll be like, what the heck are they talking about here? They get pretty raw and ranchy, but he has women guests on regularly. And this question is answered in every single episode. I can only encourage you to watch that from like just a basic, social science in terms of female behavior show. No, is the answer. Watch that show. No problem, sister. Let me see. Just going down here. Going down the questions here. Woo! There's a lot of questions here. Okay, I got the bottom. Oh, did I get to the bottom? Yeah. So, Unknown Rebel says, thank you for channel member there. Nice. Hi, Abu. Hello. Even. I have been struggling with my English fluency in terms of communication. Well, your written English seems quite good. I could easily read a full book and understand 100%, but I struggle with communicating. How can I improve?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Communicating with people, like literally like this right here. Do you read out loud? One thing I encouraged back in the days when I was an English teacher is for students to read out loud to somebody else, and then, try as best as possible to, catch a sentence and look at their face while you're reading, and go back down. You can lose your place in reading like this, but what it does is it gives you the person's facial expressions, because when they don't understand something, they'll squint their eyes and they'll be like, what did you say just right there? And so you can see where your communication is lacking in terms of reading to the person. But communicating, it's immersion. The reality, what it sounds like to me is like what I was experienced in Qatar. This is what it sounds like. I don't know, and maybe you could verify this. In Qatar, we had like students that were phenomenal in English when it comes down to grammar, reading, and writing, whatnot. But because they were in a predominantly Arabic environment and they didn't get to practice their spoken English, they didn't really improve. So immersion in an all English speaking environment will improve your English speaking significantly. But if you're like learning English and then you're going and speaking like Arabic or, Urdu or whatever else in your daily life, and you're not actually using the language, it's going to be hard to learn, spoken English very easily, very quickly, as opposed to being immersed in an environment. The reason why I speak German really fast the reason why I learned how to speak German really fast is I just completely immersed myself in the German environment, and I picked up language like instantaneously. I never went to school. It's my second language. I speak fluently. I read it, write it, whatever else. But that's only because I immerse myself in the in the environment. So maybe you need to do the same thing. Yeah, anonymous assassin said it right there. Being around people who are fluent in English, ideally native speakers. Yep, absolutely. Immersion, it's called in the education world. Abdullah says, divorced my wife one time. She left to her parents' house without permission. It's been 6 weeks. I refuse to pick her up because she left multiple times without my permission. And she refuses to change herself. She's a Muslim feminist. It's unfortunate, bro. Sisters, don't leave your husband's house. Islamically, it's not your right to do that. It's not your right to just pack up your stuff and go. And try and take it easy on the divorces, bro. I mean, I'm the one to talk. I've had so many divorces, but I mean, I say it all the time. The idea isn't to get divorced, so try and take it easy on them. I mean, it's really tough. I understand, because as a man, it's very, you have limits and you don't want to tolerate a whole bunch of BS, and so it's easy to pull the trigger. And I've been trying to slow down on that. I've been trying to be better with it, but in order to do that, what I've done is I've reversed the process. I didn't just marry women now and just divorce them when they're like crap. I came up with the vetting guide, and now I vet the women so I don't even have to go through the divorce process, because like I said, at one point I thought to myself, okay, this many divorces, there has to be a common factor, which is myself. So what have I done wrong? And what I did wrong was the vetting process. And so in vetting, it's managed to actually reduce the level of divorces because now I'm just savage in like finding disqualifiers for women, and so it makes your life much easier, in terms of like not divorcing women because, yeah.
She left the house without permission.
Yeah, don't leave the house without permission, sisters. Just don't do that. It's not permissible. Sharina Begum. Brother, I'm a new viewer of yours. I hope you don't mind me asking, where did you learn about human behavior? Did you study psychology? As a lot of what you say makes sense. Allahumma barak. No, I didn't actually study psychology. I took some psychology, but nothing like, like went to university and studied it. No, I just totally, again, when I was talking to the student about immersion, I literally immersed myself in terms of the world of psychology, relationships, whatnot, for it was like 4 years straight. I might as well have done a degree. I just read books. No, I don't have them here anymore. Actually, I left them on in Qatar. I read a whole bunch of books, listened to a whole bunch of audios, just studied, observed people, started paying attention, experimenting with human behavior, listening to the lived experiences of people and picking out the patterns in the behavior. And this is actually when I do my one-on-one sessions. This is actually when this is where I learned like how to do one-on-one sessions very well, is the lived experiences of people. And there's always a pattern. People, and it's not an insult when I say this, but a lot of people, they're not as original as they think they are. They're not as unique as they think they are. Everybody wants to be a unique personality and character, and to a degree you are. But in terms of human behavior, you're not. And this goes back to what I was talking about, biological imperatives. And this is also something that I understood, I studied also, is the biological imperatives of people and how it is socially expressed. Because we're different than animals. Animals have a biological imperative, and they just go straight to it. I want to eat, I go eat. I want to screw, I go find a partner, and I fight whatever is in between me and my potential partner, and then I screw my partner. But humans have a social aspect to that. I'm hungry. Do I want Chinese? Do I want this? Do I want that? Am I going to cook? Am I going to go out? Am I going to order out? This, that, the other. There's a social expression to our biological imperatives. And so taking all that and combining it and looking at human behavior in general, I came to a very, very, very solid baseline to where it's like human behavior is super predictable to me, and generally it's like why my one-to-one sessions are 100% always good. I never had a complaint about them. I've had like a 99% success rate. I've had one where I didn't get the guy what he wanted, where he wanted, how he wanted. It was unfortunate, but it didn't turn out bad. The guy still got married to the sister, but he got married to her in a way that, wasn't the way he wanted it, and so, yeah. I didn't study psychology. I just studied humans, and humans follow patterns, and I'm a spatial thinker, and I can pick out patterns and stuff very well, and so, yeah. Alex learned YouTube from English from YouTube. Nice, mashallah, man. Go get your wife, bro. Go get your wife. If she expects you to come pick her up, go get her. But you got to set rules, man. And look, not shush. Don't you give me that look over there. She's like, no. Listen to me. Go get your wife and set new expectations for her. Look at my video. I think it's called Game for Long-Term Relationships. It's something like that. Search Abuamerican long-term relationship game or something like this. And in it, there's a guy No, actually, it's a woman talking about how her husband deals with this, and this is how you have to deal with your wife. And you have to set boundaries, you have to set rules, and you have to set expectations, and there has to be consequences because you can't just set these rules and then not have consequences. Because then she's really gonna wild out on you. But it's just like whenever you're in an argument, and that was one thing that was from that video. Is the girl was saying, my husband said, and she's married to a very, very high value guy that she doesn't want to lose. He's a movie star of some sort. And it's like, my husband said, if we have an argument, I can't leave the house, because she used to go get into an argument and leave the house. And it's like, and that's one of the things you can't do. You can't leave the house, when you're mad or you're angry or you're in an argument or something like this. And you need to set that rule for her, and so you need to set expectations and limitations for her, because it's not acceptable behavior by no stretch of the imagination, not even for a non-Muslim woman. How is that okay? You're going to leave the house in an emotional state. What are you going to do? You're going to be worried about her as a man. Is that really? And this goes back to what I was talking to the other sister about. It's like, do you really want to like put your partner through that? You want to make him feel like worried, whatever else, angry. That's what you looking at.
He's working weed. He's trying. 6 weeks he left. She doesn't want to go home.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been 6 weeks.
Oh yeah, 6 weeks. But he said something about she wanted him to come pick him up. He said that in the question earlier. No, he said I refused to pick her up because she left multiple times without my permission.
It's been 6 weeks.
Yeah, but my understanding from this is that she wants him to pick him up. He says he refuses to.
If she wants, he's gonna come home. That's natural.
Yeah, but come on. If she wants to come home, but she's being a woman, she wants her man to come get her. Tell me that's not true. Then why would she expect him to come pick him up?
She said that. No, he doesn't say that.
He didn't say it, but it's implied. It's understood. Abdul Zulaili. Does she Zul Ali? I don't know what it is. Does she expect you to come pick her up? Does she want you to pick her up or not? Yeah, he refuses to pick her up.
He doesn't want to because
he wants her to come back.
No.
But she left.
It's been 6 weeks.
Can you help us out here? Okay. You refuse to pick her up. Why? Because she expects you to pick her up, or because you don't want to pick her up? These are important questions. Anyway, I lost my train of thought on that last rant I was on. So let me just go find the next question. Yeah, she go get your wife. Go get her and set expectations, limitations, boundaries, new behaviors. If she doesn't, shush, man. Do you see this? Do you see the even Phillip Show? Do you see the Ling Ling Show here? And set boundaries for her. I'm going with the understanding that you have not had this conversation with her. And so if you haven't had this conversation with her, then she's not maybe understanding by some weird stretch of imagination that this is not acceptable behavior. So make it clear. Hey, what did I just say? Did I say make it a clear expectation or not? Maybe she doesn't understand this is not acceptable behavior. Obviously, I think she does. But maybe she doesn't understand that you don't like this to the point, or maybe that's why she's doing it. And just make it clear. It's like, look, maybe you're doing this because you don't understand. It's not correct. Maybe you're doing this because you understand I don't like it. But from this point on, this is no longer acceptable behavior. Setting boundaries is what I'm telling the man to do. You got anything else you want to interject over here, Ling Ling?
You smoking weeds.
Really? Did you put it in food? Dork. So let me go on. Leaning over here trying to get up on the show. So let me see. Yeah, I see what you're saying there, Yusuf. I'm not too fond of Unplugged Fit. Only a few short clips that I might handle. What kind of Muslim dude produces openly such a haram show? Yeah, like I said, it's really touchy, for Muslims and stuff. Now, I of course have a pretty good relationship with Myron. Myron, if you guys don't know, Myron is a Muslim. He's originally from Sudan. He openly claims Islam, but yeah, this show has a lot of problems. But it's really good in terms of understanding like the behaviors of women and the mentality of women in this day and age. It's a good show in that sense. Oh, alhamdulillah. And you, I mean. Jazakallah khair. It's good how I'm praying. Yeah. Guys, this is a tough one, man. Because I say it all the time. I've done a lot of one-to-one consultations, and out of all of the one-to-one consultations I've ever done, I've only told one person that he should consider getting a divorce. I mean, so basically, if I tell him to follow your advice, I'm basically telling him to get a divorce. And it's not, it's just not it's not one I'm going to take. I'm not going to put that one out there on me. What are you looking at? So, yeah, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. Yeah, she's being a woman. That's with the A. She's being a woman. She's being a woman. But I don't think she wants me to pick her up. If I go, she will come. That's a contradiction, bro. Because what do we always say? Look at what a woman does. Don't pay attention to what she says. If you go and you want to pick her up and she comes, she wants to come. If you go and you want to pick her up and she doesn't come, she doesn't want to come. Pay attention to what a woman does. Don't pay attention to what she says. What advice do you have for someone starting BJJ Muay Thai? What can I expect? Bro, get used to being the nail. You're not always going to be the hammer. Leave your ego at the door and just take your licks, bro. And stick with it, because you're going to take your beatings, and so and it's not always going to be fun. It's not going to be fun. So get used to liking struggling, and then you're gonna, yeah, you're gonna get good at it, inshallah. You have to go to my website. Go to Abuamerican.com, and in the shop section, you'll find one-to-one consultations through an application called Do a Meet. How to become a member on YouTube? You just join the membership channel. There's become a member. Subscribing is different from becoming a member. You can subscribe and then you can become a member. Press to become a member. There's 2 tiers that I have. You can pick one of the 2 tiers. But if you pick the first tier, which is I think it's like $199 or something like this, then there's just a members chat. There's some stuff I drop in the members chat that I don't, but then there's the whatchamacallit, there's the exclusive videos. And so everything in exclusive videos, they see everything that members chat sees, but the members chat only sees the members chat stuff, so yeah. When there's more people that's joined, I'm going to just be doing like shows where only members can do chat. Like, what's that guy? Kevin Samuels. He has like an only members chat show. It's like, so I'll be starting, when more people join up, I'm going to do shows like that, but right now, because time zones and all this stuff, it's a little bit difficult to pull right now.
In the comment section, on the dollar.
Yeah.
You can click it and there is join.
So my wife is saying that, where the comments is, where you want to put a super chat, if you press that, it says you can join the channel there also. So guys, are coming up on 1 hour and 30 minutes. I'm going to look and see if there's any last questions. If not, then I'm going to call this a day. All right, guys. Well, that's the end of the questions. Thanks for tuning in to the Even Phillip Show. Tomorrow, I'm doing a live show that's probably less interesting to you guys. I'll be over with MLD John on his channel, but that's like a lot of stuff that probably doesn't interest you guys. That's just how I keep in contact with like a lot of Manosphere guys and whatnot, so then the next show will be on Sunday. That will be Blockchain Bros. Alex will be there, inshallah. So we'll what's his name? Dimitri. So I don't know what we're going to be talking about. We'll find something. So whoops, where'd my screen go? Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will see you on the next show. I'm out, guys. You guys have a nice evening, and inshallah, hopefully your fast goes well tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.